Hello, I am John Najarian, and RebelCon 2022 is almost here. We do have a virtual pass. The virtual pass gives you full access to everything, all the streams, the live trading sessions, all of our fabulous keynote speakers. So to learn more about what's going on at RebelCon 2022, whether you're in person or virtual, check out marketrebellion.com/Dallas.
Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the take on this Tuesday morning, and we're getting into things in a hurry. But I'll tell you what, if you look back to yesterday really quickly, you would see a market that actually was looking and expecting for, a little bit of the inflation to maybe slowing down even a little bit more. Because of that, the markets were ripping to the upside. As a matter of fact, the Dow actually finished the day up 230 points. It had been higher. It had been more than 300 points to the upside. On the flip side of that, you look at the NASDAQ, all it did was completely continue to climb all throughout the session. An absolute great performance. Started strong, finished basically near the highs of the days, up about 155 points or 1.25%. So a really nice performance in the markets, in the major indices. But you look at crude, it's trading around 88. You look at the volatility index, that was trading right just below 24. And then you look over at the VXN. Oddly and interestingly, with that moving to the upside of the NASDAQ that I just described, and a very powerful move to the upside, we still moved a little bit higher on that VXN and finished the day over 30. Keep that in mind when we get to what's going on this morning. Nat gas was moving to the upside. As a matter of fact, in the after hours last night, up there right around 8.5 or so. The 2-year, 355. You look at the 10-year, 335. Keep those numbers in mind because things have changed a lot when you get into today. Every single sector closed in the green yesterday. As a matter of fact, the worst performer was about, call it 0.5% to the upside, but most everything was up at least 1% or more, it seemed. So we look across, you look at energy, for instance, finished the day up about almost 2%, and it was Chevron that was absolutely the leadership role there. That was up about 1.5%. You had technology up a little over 1.5%. Why? Take a look at what Apple did yesterday. Apple, the largest stock that in the world, and we're talking about trillions of dollars of market cap, was up nearly 4% yesterday. That's a major move. That's incredible. That actually definitely had a huge influence on what was going on with the technology itself. Then you get over to consumer discretion. Yep, that was up over 1.3% yesterday. Look at Amazon. That was up over 2.5% or around 2.5% yesterday. So you can see sort of the tie-in here. The one that does stand out a little bit, materials had a pretty decent day, but not a very good day for U.S. Steel, which was down about 5%. That was interesting to see. And there was a couple of other names that were getting beat up a little bit. But in the broad sense, materials did have a pretty decent day. Financials up nearly 1%. It was JP Morgan. You know, look at Capital One, look at Bank of America. Those were really some of the influencers that were moving things around. You look at the beta energy area, that was something that was pretty strong. Names like Devon up 4%. APA was up about 5% yesterday. EV names like Lucid had a very nice day yesterday as well, up 10%, along with a name like Gilead. Amgen was getting pulled down, and a lot of that having to do with Bristol Myers and the competition of the psoriasis drug. John and I talked about that yesterday on Rebel's Edge. If you didn't get a chance to catch that, you can go back and look at it. By the way, we got another Rebel's Edge coming at you pretty soon. Mosaic getting absolutely slammed yesterday. Some of those ag names, CF Industries also getting hit pretty hard yesterday. So not everything was golden, but overall a pretty nice, bright day. As I said, all the different major sectors in the green. Wow, what a difference a day can make, or at least some comments and some of the actual numbers, the data that we were collecting. CPI, we were talking about it yesterday, going to be a catalyst. We get that number and the reaction, well, not so hot. Actually, maybe the CPI was so hot that caused everything else to just freeze up. That's kind of how it played out. We weren't that bad until we got that number. We were actually looking pretty decent. We get that CPI number. Next thing you know, we're down 580 points in the pre-market, 370 points for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has just been kind of hovering around that level, call it down 400 points. When you look over at the Dow, though, just continues to get pounded more and more and more in the first hour. Things obviously can change. We were down since 650. By the top of the hour, 30 minutes into the day, down 700 points. We're still down somewhere close to about 720, 740 points to the downside for the Dow. That can change. We all know that, but definitely the market's not really liking what's going on there. You look at crude, still holding around 88. Look at nat gas, still holding right around 830, a little bit off of last night's highs of 850. You look at the 2-year, though, that's really where things really made a big move. The 2-year hit levels it had not seen in quite some time. 374 is where I'd last seen that. And then you look over at the 10-year at a 345. That's an amazing move to the upside. I know it doesn't sound fast, but these are fast moves when you look at treasuries to make those kind of movements. So volatility index, yes, we are very, very close to 28. We are over 31 when you're looking at the VXN, the volatility of the NASDAQ. So yesterday, maybe a little bit of something to keep an eye on when we watched the markets moving to the upside for the NASDAQ, and yet we were seeing that VXN moving to the upside as well. Maybe a little bit of a tell. CPI came in at 8.3% higher. That was expected was a little over 8, call it 8.1. The August data, those numbers reflects that the Fed probably is already going to be telling us, and most everybody's interpreting this, about a 3/4 point move. We had already been heard about this going back to Jackson Hole, talking about the Fed and everything else. But this just gives you a lot more. And they talk about data points. Well, they've got their data points now that likely are going to see what is going to go on with interest rates going forward. So today, how are we looking? Well, at the start of the day, every single sector in the red. So complete flip from yesterday. As a matter of fact, consumer discretion was down about 3%, down about 3.5%. Communications was down about 3%, down close to 4%. Then you look at technology down 2.75%, sliding a little bit further down 3.25%. Then you look at financials, we're 2%, now 2.5% to the downside. You can see that cascading movement of all of the different sectors, but specifically those ones that I just pointed out. Though we also have some names that are in positive territory. Oracle actually stood out to me, up nearly 3% early on. Kroger yesterday was down. Talk about safety trade. Today it's back in the green. And then you look over at some of those names that are part of that energy world. And obviously energy is, as part of the sectors, was in negative territory, but not by a whole lot. And names like APA, and you look at something like a Pioneer or Baker Hughes, those were in positive territory early on. Mohawk getting hit. NVIDIA, AMD, those semiconductors, again, getting hit. You look at a Caesars and a Penn, those were getting hit as well. Meta, Nike, Apple. Apple yesterday, we talked about what a great performance it had. Well, today, last I looked, Apple was down close to 2.5%. So it gives you a little bit of an idea. Guys, today, and it's not at the market close, but the Rebel Pit, I tell you, this timing is absolutely perfect for this. And it's going to be tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to get the Rebel Pit. I'm going to be joining the guys. It's going to be Ryan, Wayne, Greg. These guys are unbelievable. If you look at their past history and their experience that they have from being on the trading floors, these guys have everything you're looking for. I've always said, you can always trust the guys who've actually been in the pits. They understand the pits. They stood down in the pits. They had to take those trades that you don't want to take sometimes and then figure out how you're going to navigate around. John and I had a lot of experience on the floors. These guys have an incredible amount of experience on the floors. Floor traders, I'm telling you, those are the guys, because they've had to stand there when you want to walk away. They've stood there. That's part of the Rebel Pit. Momentum. How do you master that momentum? Well, after looking at what happened with the markets yesterday and looking at what's going with the markets today, this could not be more timely. That's going to be tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to check that out. It's a great opportunity to listen to these guys and how that Rebel Pit works. It's awesome, and they're going to do a great job. We know that. Ryan usually runs lead. You've got Wayno and Greg as well. These guys are fantastic. Look forward to seeing them later on this evening, in the early evening. I got one unusual for you. I'm going to start off with the Spider. Now, We don't talk about the major indices very often here when we're talking about the unusual option activity, but in this case, I thought the size was decent enough, and it was something that I think is good, very reflective of what we are seeing in the markets today. So, spiders, the October 7th. So you're going into that first week of October, October 7th, the 395 puts were being bought, 15,000 of those. They're paying all the way up to $8 for those, but they're also spreading those off. That's something that we see a lot of when folks are in those ETFs and so forth. So where are they spreading these off? Well, they're selling 15,000 of the October 7th, same expiration cycle, 380 puts. This is a $15 put spread to the downside, looking for more activity and a slide in these markets. Total cost of that is around $4, a little bit more than $4 for that spread, and it's a $15 spread. So it fits into the category that I like to do spreads. If it's at least a 3-to-1, I like to see 4-to-1, but a 3-to-1 giving me that opportunity at the best case scenario, I like to be able to do those kind of trades. This does fit in there. $8 for those 395 puts, $375 for the 380 puts, all in October, all the 7th expiration. So look forward to seeing you guys tonight. Hopefully you're able to make that. Have a great day of trading. Be smart. Always be smart. And understand this. A lot of volatility going into the markets today, whether it's the volatility index itself, the VXN, or those individual implied volatilities. Always know what those volatilities look for in those options, because you want to know where they've been, what the historic is, and where are they on a day like today where we're down 700 points. Have a great day of trading.